Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of The Fat Show. On today's episode, I can't believe the time has come to do my first kind of regular service interval on my 100 Series Toyota Land Cruiser. So I'm going to be doing an engine oil change. I'm going to do another transmission flush. I'm going to do a 5-tire rotation, and I'm also going to grease my drive shaft, slip the yokes, and U-joints. And I think that's probably it. Maybe there'll be something else along the way. But I'm going to try not to blab too much and get straight to it. I will say that this is something that I really enjoy doing. I love just doing normal maintenance on your car, stuff that you've done before and you're comfortable doing. I don't know, I just find it relaxing. So I'm going to take you along with me today, even though I've done all this in previous videos before. But anyways, let's get to it. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is just a service fill of the transmission. So I'm just going to drain it into this 2-liter bucket here. And I'm hoping 2 liters is enough. If not, I have a second bucket, but this is just a 14 millimeter. And I do have, this is kind of close to the frame rail, so, or sorry, the cross member, so do the best I can not to make a mess. And I like using these paint buckets so you can just measure the exact amount you take out and put in the same exact amount. But it looks like one bucket's not going to be enough, so I'm glad I have the extra. Hopefully I have some extra transmission fluid because I bought 3 liters. And this is taking a little bit more than I expected. Well, I might have to run out and get more transmission fluid if I don't have any. Conveniently enough, both the transmission and the engine oil drain plug are both 14 millimeters, so don't even have to change sockets from one to the other. And the reason this looks kind of milky is because I put the Ceratec in it last oil change. The liquid moly Ceratec kind of gives it like a white, milky look to it. And I was pretty bad this time, both for the transmission and the engine oil. I didn't get any washers, but that's fine. I usually do the crush washers like every other oil change, and I've, knock on wood, to date never had any leaks. It's amazing how heavy these Toyota oil filters are. Definitely a high quality, which is why I always use the OEM one. Now I just get it good and tight with my hands because it really doesn't have to be that tight, and it's really infuriating when some lube tech puts it on to 8,000 foot-pounds and then you can't get it off next time. Alright, so I guess I'll start by filling up the transmission first. And in my last video I made doing a transmission service on this, a lot of people pointed out that I used the wrong fluid. I used the Toyota Type 4 fluid. I had read online that the Type 4 fluid is backwards compatible with Type 3. So that's why I use that. Granted, I don't remember what my source was, and I honestly didn't research it too hard. So I appreciate people pointing that out. Still not sure what the right answer is. I will say I didn't lose any sleep over it, but instead of trying to mess around with the correct Toyota fluid, I just went with my tried and true liquid moly. I just went to their website and found one that they recommended for this transmission. I guess I just noticed this isn't red, so that's kind of weird. But anyways, and these liquid moly bottles should make it easier to fill because it'll just fit right in there. So I'm going to put in the exact amount that I took out, which is 3.5 liters. So I won't make you watch all this because although this might be easier with these bottles, they are kind of slow to fill. Alright, for engine oil, using the liquid moly Special Tech 540, and I'm going to fill it up, I think 6 liters first, and then I'll start it up and see where we're at. I apologize for the terrible audio quality today. I didn't realize until the end of the day that I forgot to plug in my microphone, so it's just going off of my camera microphone. But my normal process is running the engine for 30 seconds to check the oil level, and then the transmission level has to be checked with the engine running. So once I get the oil level dialed in, I then check the cold level on the transmission. Then once I'm done with the entire service, I'll take it for a drive and check the transmission fluid level while it's hot. I'll go around and check the rest of the fluids while I'm here. The brake reservoir looks good. Technically, you have to press the pedal like 40 times to completely bleed off the accumulator and then check the level. But I just changed this out not long ago, so I'm not too worried about it. Make sure, obviously, if your truck is hot, don't open this. Make sure the radiator is full, doesn't have any air in it. Check your expansion tank, which is good. And power steering. Right on the minimal, so I'll probably put a splash of that in there. And then I'll fill up my washer reservoir. Alright, so I hate getting the truck fully up on jack stands, but it has to be done for the next part. I got my spare tire out, which is also really annoying with my bike rack on the back of the truck because of the little tool to lower it down. You can only do like half a turn at once, then you have to pull the handle off and then change it, but eventually I got it down. I guess I could have taken the bike rack off too. Now the truck's up in the air, so I'm going to put the transfer case in neutral. I'm going to grease my front slip yoke, front U-joints, rear slip yoke, rear U-joints, and then I'm going to start doing 5 tire rotation. Maybe it's a little crazy to do every 5,000 miles, but I don't know. I just kind of want to keep the tires wearing evenly, get as much life out of them as I can, and then, yeah. It's really just a pain putting it up in the air as far as the work goes. It's pretty easy. Alright, here's the front slip yoke. I know I've talked about the different methods that people recommend for doing this. Doing it until the grease comes out or until you see the shaft move. I'm going to do it just till I ever so slightly see the grease come out, like it is right now. Because all the excess you put in just ends up leaking out and kind of making a mess. Come on. Alright, so got that slip yoke, got this U-joint. There's a U-joint on the back of this front drive shaft, and then I guess I'll film. So I wasn't planning on filming the rear, but I did something stupid that was probably worth sharing. So I went to turn the drive shaft and it wouldn't turn even though the transfer case is in neutral. And it's because my dumb self put the rear parking brake on, which I always do when I jack a car up, and I didn't really think about the fact that I was gonna have to turn this to get to the Zerks fitting. really mention what grease I'm using, but I am using Redline liquid moly, or Redline moly grease. Alright, so here's TireRack.com. I'm going to be doing this rearward cross 5-tire rotation. So the spare tire is going to become the right rear. The left rear is going to go to the left front. Right rear will go to the right front. Right front will go to the left rear. I have the spare tire sitting near the left rear ready to go. Yeah. I'm just going to try and take one tire off at a time just because this truck is so heavy it still just makes me nervous having it on jack stands. Alright, in an effort to keep, or only have one tire off at a time, I'm going to start with the spare tire, so I'm also hoping that my impact is going to be strong enough to get all of these off because the truck's already in the air, so I can't use a breaker bar. Sometimes this thing needs to be charged up all the way to get the tires off, particularly if I have anything done at a tire shop where they just put it on with the air impact. I'd really like to get one of the Milwaukee Fuel ones of these, but they're so expensive. Now you guys get to see how weak I am. These wheels are not light. And this definitely cannot over torque them, so I'm just gonna put them on with this and then I'll torque them back once the truck's back on the ground. Alright, so I finished swapping all 4 wheels, 5 wheels, put the spare tire back up, and now I'm just going to go around and torque everything to 130 Newton meters. Of course I put the dust caps back on, or wheel steering caps back on, which I shouldn't have. It just makes it more difficult to do this. Well, I just proved today that no matter how many times you do a job, it is never that easy. I was dumping out my transmission into my waste oil bin, and I realized that I never put the crush washer back on, and sure enough, I looked at the drain plug and it is weeping a little bit. So, I guess I'm doing a double flush today. I'm gonna go to the auto parts store and get some more ATF, because if I'm gonna open up the plug, something's gonna spill out. I'm not gonna know exactly how much, so I might as well just run the car for a little while to mix up that fluid and do another flush. Yeah, so maybe that is why you should just change the crush washer every time, because then you know you have a new one and you don't realize that you dropped it at the bottom of the pan. I thought it was still on the drain plug, which apparently it was not. So anywho, also I think I'm gonna go get some Mobil 1 ATF instead of this liquid moly. I love liquid moly to death, but I don't really like the fact that this isn't dyed red like most ATF, because it just makes it easier when you're trying to trace down leaks. If ATF is red, then you know you can differentiate it from engine oil or gearbox oil or gear oil from the transfer case or front differential. So I'm gonna go get some Mobil 1 and do a second transmission flush today. I'll probably run the car for maybe like 10 minutes idling just to mix up that new fluid and get a better flush out of it. All right, so now to fill the transmission for the second time today. And I was planning on doing I was planning on doing one more of these flushes the next time I change the oil and then doing every other. But since I ended up doing this twice today, the oil looked really good on the second flush. So I'm gonna start doing every other now. Of course, I went to 2 stores, neither had the
the Mobile One synthetic ATF like I wanted, so I ended up getting this Castrol. So yeah, this meets the Toyota Type 3 standard, so should be good, and is red. And this one I'm going to put in a little bit less than I took out since I was a little bit high earlier. Right now the truck is like medium temperature, so it's going to be hard to check the level. I think I'm just going to drive it as it is and then check it hot. So that's a wrap on this episode. I just took the truck for a drive to get the transmission nice and hot, and I checked the oil level and it is spot on now. So I did end up probably overfilling a little bit on the first one because I put slightly less than I took out on the second flush, and got it spot on. I don't know, to me it's probably placebo effect, but to me it always feels like the transmission shifts smoother after you do the oil flush. But anyways, it felt better, and then also the driveline clunk definitely goes down a little bit every time you grease those slip yokes. So overall it was pretty easy job. Maybe it's overkill for what most people do. Probably overkill doing 5,000 mile interval and then also changing the transmission fluid. I had originally planned to do it one more time, and then I was going to start doing it every 10,000 miles, but since I did it twice a day and the second flush looked really clean, I think I'm just going to switch now to doing it every 10,000 miles. So I'm not going to be doing that every time, but I am going to do the 5-tire rotation oil change every 5,000 miles and then greasing the drive shafts. And then we'll see what I do as far as other fluids like transfer case and diff oil. I don't really drive the truck that much since I have other vehicles and it's not particularly fuel efficient. So I'll probably do that pretty often. But anyways, hope you guys like this. As always, please like and subscribe and stay tuned for next time. Thank you guys. Bye.